as one of the only people in basically the world that watched Game of Thrones from season 1 onward. Well, actually, I didn't watch season 1. I jumped on around season 4, but I actually paid attention and liked the last season and got some kind of enjoyment out of it. Kind of makes me a little happy that George R. R. Martin is telling the fans who are bitching about season 8 basically to go shut up. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, George R. R. Martin said that the fan backlash and everything is not going to change how he is writing the book, how he is going to end it. Obviously, his books are going to be different because the show had cut characters and some characters died that are still alive, but he's not going to change things. And he told the two guys that wrote the show how it's going to end all those years ago when season 1 started, and they only got the job because they guessed correctly how the show was going to end. So, that means, to my wording, the basic plots of it are going to still be there. Like, Dany's still going to go nuts, Jon's still going to kill her, and Bran's going to be king, and Jon's going to go back up to Winterfell. Jon's going to be sent back to his home. Or the wall, basically. And that's going to piss off the fans, but they might not, because some people bitched that maybe if there was more episodes and there was more build up to these events, because some people were bitching that the couple episodes, like, it should have been like a season of the Battle of Winterfell, should have been a season of against Cersei, and over that time, over those 2 seasons, you slowly saw Daenerys go nuts. So maybe with more context and more like basic world building, people might like the story better, because I have seen some people complain about that. So let's jump into the actual article. If you would like to read the article, just Google George R. R. Martin Game of Thrones and it's from Entertainment Weekly. It should be right on top. The internet affects all this to the degree it has never affected before, like Jon Snow's parentage. There were early hints about who Snow's parents were in the books. That's why the R plus J equals L thing was around. But only 1 out of 100 readers put it together. And before the internet, that was fine. For 99 readers out of 100, when Jon Snow's parentage gets revealed, it would have been, oh, that's a great twist. But in the age of the internet, even if one person figures it out, the other 100 will figure it out then, because the one person posts it online and the 99 people read it and go, oh, that makes sense. Like all those fan theories and that, people posting and everything, every time it talks about it, every time one seems highly plausible, people talk about it and post it everywhere. Major spoilers, possibly. That's not what he said, that's just me adding. And there's an temptation to change the upcoming books. Oh my god, it's screwed up. I haven't come up with I have to come up with something different. Like I said, how I read that. That means the basic hit points from season 8, like I said, Bran becoming king, Jon killing Daenerys going nutso, are probably all going to still be in the last book, A Dream of Spring, if it ever comes out. And those people that were bitching, like the ones who were bitching and said that should have been more development of these story arcs, will probably be happier because it will be more development, because George R. R. Martin gives a backstory every fucking tree branch. Now, where was I? But that's wrong, because you've been planning for a certain ending, and if you suddenly change direction just because somebody figured it out, or because they don't like it, then it screws up the whole structure. Like myself, I put hints of who the traitor is going to be all the way back in the first book, because there's a traitor in my last one. That's why if you look at my book, it says like Star Wars and that kind of stuff are books, are like suggested books of it, because I went on side note, I went on Thrift Books and I typed my book in, and it said Star Wars, Star Trek, Avatar: The Last Airbender, some anime show or manga called Card Captor Sakura. It was also a cartoon. And I think that was it. Oh, and 2 Michael Crichton novels I never heard of. But they weren't Jurassic Park. Or what my book series, like if you like my book series, you'll also like these. So I'm gonna have some, like, just like in Star Wars, Anakin was a good guy and betrays people, but unlike Anakin, my character doesn't get redeemed. Once he goes evil, he's going to stay evil, and it happens all the way in the last book. At least my main series, the Earth Chronicles. The other ones, I don't really have any kind of big structure to it because it's either a one-off book or it's the Minimum Wage Sentai and it's prequel. I haven't written anything else that's not like the main series of mine or a one-off, so I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Because you've been planning a certain ending, and if you suddenly and for that note, if you do suddenly change it, then if you read like book 1 all the way to the end of the book, it'd be like, wait a minute, you were setting up Daenerys to go nuts, the Mad Queen, and it makes sense completely if you look at book 1, look at what she's done in books 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but now in book 6, you just drop that story arc completely. That doesn't make any sense. So I do agree with him on that sentiment. Because if someone figured out who goes evil on the Earth Chronicles, I wouldn't change it. I would just say, hey, you figured it out. Good for you. So no, I don't read the fan sites. I want to write the book I've always intended to write all along. And when it comes out, they can like it or they can not like it. Kind of like what Gene Roddenberry said about when people bitched at him about Wesley. It's my story. You can either like it or not. The whole last 3 years have been strange since the show got ahead of the books. Yes, I told the showrunners, David Benioff and Dan Weiss, a number of things years ago. And some of them they did. But at the same time, it's different. I have very fixed ideas in my head as I'm writing The Winds of Winter, and beyond that, in terms of where things are going. It's like two alternate realities existing side by side. Obviously, because he's cut out different characters, because the show didn't have certain characters in it, so it can't do that, and it's killed certain characters who survived so far, and they can't do that, so I felt a tremendous amount of pressure for years now. The most pressure I felt was a few years ago when I was desperately trying to stay ahead of the show. There was a point when the show was coming out in April, and my editor said if I finished the book by December, they'd rush it out. And the pressure I felt that fall was the greatest pressure I'd ever felt. And then at a certain point, it became apparent I'm not going to finish it by then. I actually remember the people like Nerdist and all of them talking about this actual event he's talking about, like them saying The Winds of Winter is coming, and here's some chapters he's already published, and it's actually going to come out before the series, and how happy they were going to be because it would give the series 2 more seasons out of it, because they were doing at that point like 2 seasons of the book. And obviously he didn't do it. I don't only want to finish it, I want to make it as good as I possibly can. Since then, there has been pressure, but not like there was at that point. There is no longer a race. The show is over. So, for the people that actually like Season 8, the book's endings, mine actually may piss off a lot of the fanboys who were bitching and complaining and were going to riot at Comic-Con, which made the creators of the show back out of going there because, they saw the signs about how all these a-holes are going to go there and try to boo them or make the day miserable for them, constantly saying how you suck and I hate you and you ruined everything and all that crap, being like whiny assholes. Because, that's what people kind of turned out to be nowadays. Used to just be, I don't like that show. I don't like that movie. Now it's the worst piece of trash ever and all that crap, and people constantly complaining about garbage. It's like, it's okay to complain maybe every now and again, but you don't make the person that, like, the actor's life miserable. You don't make the writer's life miserable. You just tell them, I didn't like it. If you even bother. Because in all reality, a celebration of the show that it was supposed to be if you didn't like season 8 and now you hate the show completely, like a lot of people are not even, a lot of people got rid of their DVDs and their toys and their shirts and everything and gave them the Goodwills and FYEs and all that kind of crap, or sold them online, then you no longer like the show and you really shouldn't be there. You should. It's Comic-Con. Go to another panel, let people who actually like the show, enjoyed the show, still love the show, let them into the panel, let them enjoy it, let them have it, because this is the last one. The show is over. Those are just my thoughts, and hey, like always, like, dislike, comment down below. Don't comment, subscribe, unsubscribe, and hey, have a good one.